second too. But let's read this. I'm gonna do that take again. Sorry, boys. I'm not trying to waste your time, but I want to make sure that it's actually good. So, all right. So, reading tweet from Stylosa. This is from Activision Blizzard's Q3 2021 earnings call. The stock's been killed the last 6 months because obviously the titles are being delayed. There was the lawsuit. It's just been a complete mess over at Blizzard. Unfortunately, for the sake of your content creators, your players, et cetera, et cetera. But let's read this update on our pipeline. As we have worked with new leadership in Blizzard and within the franchises themselves, particularly in certain key roles, it has become apparent that some of Blizzard's content planned for next year will benefit from more development time to reach its full potential. While we are still planning to deliver a substantial amount of content from Blizzard next year, we are now planning a later launch for Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 than originally envisaged. These are two of the most eagerly anticipated titles in the industry, and our teams have made great strides towards completion in recent quarters, but we believe giving the teams some extra time to complete production and continue growing their creative resources to support titles after launch will ensure that these releases delight and engage their communities for many years into the future. These decisions will push out the financial uplift that we had expected to see next year. Lowering guidance is going to kill their stock, by the way. But we are confident this is the right course of action for our people, our players, and the long-term success of our franchises. So what does this tell you right away? Obviously, first and foremost, major red flags about this leadership team. I think so. Let's break this down first. As we have worked with new leadership in Blizzard and within the franchise themselves, particularly in certain creative key roles, it has become apparent that some of Blizzard's content planned for next year will benefit from more development time. Okay. Overwatch 2 and Diablo should not be thrown in that same conversation together. The reason why Overwatch 2 is delayed is they have had way longer to do the Overwatch 2 stuff than Diablo 4. Because when Diablo 4 was first announced in 2019, it was pretty clear that the game wasn't coming anytime soon. Like, it was 2023, 2024 at the earliest, right? Before COVID. Because the main reason Diablo 4 got announced was because in 2018 BlizzCon, they announced that Diablo mobile game. What do you guys don't have phones? That whole fiasco, right? Because, again, these developers live in freaking 2006, right? Like, they don't understand modern gaming. So they rushed Diablo 4 announcement just to get it out there for good PR, which is not necessarily a bad thing to do. So, but Overwatch 2, this was anticipated in 2021. This was already supposed to be out. And Diablo 4 lost Jesse McCree with the whole lawsuit stuff that went on because Blizzard wanted to clear house. Overwatch 2, Jeff Kaplan just walked away. Right, so Overwatch still has all of the same developers as before. So it's really just trying to PR mask the fact that the Overwatch studio, I guess, is just in a massive shit show, as kind of we've talked about. Because look, I've been saying this for years, alongside many other people. The developers and the leadership, particularly at Overwatch, at the Overwatch team, they don't understand what the industry and the community wants, much less their own game. Right? It's been proven time and time, especially the Balance team. The Balance team has hard throttled this game's success for years because Jeff Goodman and a lot of these other old school devs are trying to stick to the old school Blizzard model, which does not work in this day and age. You cannot, and this is a direct quote from Jeff Kaplan, you cannot have a game that is diverse and difficult to play. You can't take that and then try to make it easier with heroes like Brig, FAP, you name them, most of the DLC heroes, because that's their goal. They want to make the game easier for most players. But what ends up happening is you just create characters that do more, that replace the original cast, rather than actually build off the original cast. And that makes people not want to play. It waters down your game. It crunches the skill ceiling and the skill floor together and makes it unplayable. Not to mention they haven't done anything to actually incentivize the competitive experience of the game to be true. You get punished for stacking in this game rather than actually rewarded like in Warzone in most ranks, right? Where it's impossible for even in Plat, GM, wherever you are, to stack with your friends and actually enjoy your game experience, which is the best way to play video games in this day and age, right? There's no solo queue format that consistently works. So it really is silly that they aren't letting people, okay, I'm not going to get into that because that's just goes off. But it's just basically the current leadership at Overwatch does not understand Overwatch or the bigger community as a whole. And their decisions continue to make this game get delayed way longer than it should have because they don't know what they're doing. And I've said this for freaking years. It doesn't make me happy to say it, but it's just the truth. And how many more red flags do we have to get before we start asking the really, really important questions as who is in charge and why are they there? So this is just enormous red flags, and I think it's really bullshit that they're a PR team. It's what I would do too. It's smart, but it's bullshit that Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 are in the same boat. Diablo 4 is justifiably being delayed. Overwatch 2 does not have that leg to stand on as to why it should be delayed. I think it's really, really silly. So, let's take spring of 2022 off the table completely. It's not going to happen. I think the best case scenario going forward is we're going to see Overwatch 2, if we're lucky, in fall of 2022. If we're lucky, fall of 2022. And I can't tell if it's just the heroes not being ready for Overwatch 2 or if the maps and stuff aren't ready yet or if they overhyped the promises. But this is looking like one huge fucking mess. And I can't tell you enough. Because here's the thing. The absolute last thing a company wants to do is lower guidance. A publicly traded company, the worst thing that they could do is lower guidance. And that's what this means. Like, they're pushing out financial uplift means that they're not going to make as much money as they had expected, and that will kill the stock. That is the worst possible thing that you could come out and say for your companies, that, hey, in the future, we think we're going to be making less money. That is going to fucking kill your stock. That's not what the board wants to do. That's not what investors wants to hear. So the fact that they had to say this for Overwatch as well is a major red flag, and I'm not sure if people in the community understand just how big of a red flag that is. A company lowering guidance is the worst possible thing they can do because that's the absolute last thing the board of directors wants to do. So, again, like, it might take Overwatch's team burning to the ground and being rebuilt for them to actually get this shit done, because this is really, really concerning. And if people don't see this and immediately Indy 500 fucking spin those red flags around, because this is bad. This is really, really bad. I'm really, really concerned, as should everyone else. And it's time for the community to start asking the question, who is in charge and are they capable of getting it done? Because I'm sorry, I don't think so. I think it's been a straight up mess for 2.5, 3 years, and they need to get some fresh blood. No disrespect to Aaron Keller. He really has not had the time to show what he's made of. But this is why I like companies bringing people from the outside in, because it really invigorates the staff and to say, yo, let's get this shit done. And there's no bias towards other employees who, maybe shouldn't be there, but they've worked with so-and-so for 20 years, and that's a hard decision for someone to make. It's just overall not the best situation, and I really wish they had brought someone from the outside in to manage Overwatch that had a lot of game experience, that understood this modern-day industry, but woo, they actually lowered guidance and delayed 2 major titles on the Blizzard end on a side of the company that's been doing freaking awful. They are down 43% in 4 years, and boys, it looks like it's going to keep that downward trend for another year or so. So, wow. Yeah. Wow. This is not good. Anyway, Overwatch 2 delayed.